So while most of the gaming community is on the other side of the fence, hyper-focused on big corporation deals and some weird shit about race in the video game, over here in the sanctuary of swamp-ass gamers, we talk about what's really important, like the fact that Valve is in the kitchen cooking up some new games again. It likely isn't that Half-Life 3 meal we've been waiting decades for though, so somebody might still be starving. But nevertheless, after the company's latest successful release of their sequel Counter-Strike title in 2023, the die-hard fan community of leakers and data miners did what they do best and decided to get impatient. Which luckily for us meant that we got some new leaks for one of Valve's next games that they're currently working on. And this leak, to my knowledge, hit the internet streets sometime last week from some supposed, playtester screenshots, but it seemed to get an official cosign when a fan Valve page on Twitter named 𝘍𝑌𝐿 posted some, quote, verified screenshots of an apparent new online multiplayer hero shooter title currently being developed by Valve with its name thought to be Deadlock. The page described the upcoming game as the third-person hero shooter title with a bunch of character types like magicians, robots, monsters, and whatever else is needed to fit the modern hero shooter quota. We all know that shit can get insane. And of these few screenshots, I gotta say, the average person can look at these and easily infer that this game looks beyond mid. I mean, the graphic design and UI looks like a practice template made in Unity. So it's not the best introduction to this game, but it's important to know that, we don't know how far or how early Valve is in production of this multiplayer title because, I highly doubt that the final product is gonna look anything like this. But visual criticism aside, this game just existing is enough to divide the already somewhat starving group of Valve fans. Don't forget they're still hungry. Many people have mixed feelings about this game as they don't know exactly how to feel about it, or they drew a concrete conclusion about the future of the prestigious gaming company behind it. And while it is honestly just too damn early to say anything about the game, I thought it'd be at least, kind of fun to talk about the different sides of opinions that players currently have for Deadlock. So let's start with the positives and then I'll send us off with some negativity and keep the cycle of pointless internet beef still going. So as you could expect, upon the reveal of this supposed Deadlock game, many players were happy or at the bare minimum optimistic about the release of a new Valve multiplayer game. You see, what many players realize is that Valve was the company that set the standard that most hero shooters are still following today with the 2007 release of Team Fortress 2. This classic hero shooter, which still has a player count that most hero shooter developers have wet dreams about, was the first of its kind that follows an online pre-made character type formula that's found fun no matter what generation of players are playing in it. So Valve being the people that spearheaded the hero shooter movement is obviously going to give a bunch of people hope that Deadlock is going to be a good game. And with that, you got some players that respect Valve feel sort of indebted to play this title. But outside of the name and track record of Valve games alone, people are genuinely just tired of the amount of trash hero shooters that are in the market right now. Like, for every one major hero shooter release, there's at least 50 more dropping in the background trying to serenade your wallet with microtransactions. And people who are genuine fans of the multiplayer hero shooter are likely, tired of that shit. So I doubt you couldn't be more hopeful to find a good game in this genre than the beginning of release from the same people who innovated the genre to begin with. Now I gotta tune into the ongoing not so optimistic player opinion because there's a good amount of that out there too, especially when it comes to the aforementioned word that's the plague of modern hero shooter games, being microtransactions. You see, the lure of not only most hero shooters, but also specifically Valve's online games, is the fact that they're free to play with the option of cosmetic microtransactions. Which in theory isn't bad, but when literally every game in the market does that now, including the fucking $70 ones, it just turns that microtransaction word into real life Voldemort. You just don't ever want to see it or hear it anymore. And even though we don't exactly know if Deadlock is going to even have microtransactions or be free to play to begin with, it just being in the modern hero shooter nature is enough for players to pre-order their hatred for Valve possibly trying to get their hands in on this latest gaming trend. And it goes without saying, on top of all this, you got the players with the more general concern that the game itself is just gonna be whack. I mean, Valve has a catalog of mostly certified hood classics, but people tend to forget that they swept their 2018 online Dota card game Artifact under the table because they got so greedy with that game, you would have thought that Mr. Krabs was appointed as CEO. And so, you just got players who've been side-eyeing Valve ever since then with the preconceived notion that the company has the potential to produce another monumental flop, which, I mean, is technically possible, but, only time will tell. And like that example I gave earlier of the people that hate modern hero shooters, instead of some wanting Deadlock, to be good, many would rather it just not be a thing in the first place, especially when you tie in the fact that there's a whole bunch of other franchises that we haven't seen from Valve make sequels of for in a while that players are, just waiting for. The game is just really dividing among fans, to say the least. In reality though, whatever the case may be, like I said earlier, it is just too damn early and we don't have nearly enough information to draw a conclusion on the game. A game that, might not even release for all we know. We're all going off screenshots from an insider playtest. So with that, I'm going to save my opinion until we can actually play this game, but of course we'll just have to wait and see what the future holds for Valve in their next game in the future. So what do you guys think about Valve in this upcoming hero shooter, man? Feel free to comment down below. Like the video, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you on the next one.